Hi, this is Neil Hopman from Samui Mala. My guest today is Dr. Thomas Goreau, who's involved with the Global Coral Reef Alliance in Bao Rock, Thailand, and is also co-founder of the Bao Rock Method. And that's what we want to know a little bit about today, Dr. Goreau, is how does Bao Rock work in terms of the technology behind it that allows coral reefs to rejuvenate?
Well, what we do is actually very simple. We apply a trickle charge, like what you get from a battery. And we feed it into the ocean, into structures we make of any size or shape. That little trickle charge causes limestone rock that's dissolved in the water, naturally present to precipitate out and grow. It won't happen by itself, but that current allows it to do it. The coral does the same thing. I mean, the coral spends a lot of energy to take these dissolved minerals out of the ocean, build its skeleton. So it has to use its own biological energy, but it won't spontaneously grow out of seawater.
And if it's depleted already, it doesn't have much energy to do that, I would assume.
That's right, I don't quite understand.
The coral bleaching that we're currently experiencing.
Yes, the corals have stopped growing. When the corals bleach, they absolutely stop growing.
So this is a resuscitation in a way, if it
well,
hasn't
yes, that's right. But what it does, it allows us to build solid rock structures of any size or shape. And those are unique because they are the only marine construction material that gets stronger and harder with age.
Okay.
Every other marine material we make has its maximum strength when we build it, and then it proceeds to deteriorate from that point on. It rusts, it corrodes, it cracks, it falls apart. So we build seawalls, they look very nice, but we know they're going to fail. They're doomed to fail. It's inevitable that they're going to fail. And then you have to rebuild the whole thing, and it costs a great deal. So with BioRock, we do the opposite. We build something that's weak to begin with, and it gets stronger with age. So it's quite remarkable, but it takes a long-term mindset to think that way, because we're thinking about growing and restoring things, not just simply manufacturing.
When you talk about time, what sort of time frames are we looking at to see some improvement in the coral?
Well, we see almost right away. I mean, the rock itself that we grow about 1 to 2 centimeters a year. The coral itself, we speed up its growth about 2 to 6 times faster than normal. Depends on the species. So we just accelerate them. They grow like mad. And so literally we'll take a small broken fragment of a coral and then it'll turn into a huge, beautifully rounded coral very quickly. So the corals we grow branch unusually densely. They're very brightly colored. They've got a real perfection of form about them that makes them look very beautiful. What I mean by that is, just to give an example, if you take 2 mango seeds from the same tree and you plant one of them in very poor soil, you'll get a tree that's got only a few branches, very few leaves, it doesn't bear many fruit. But the identical seed in very rich soil will be very densely branched, be completely covered with greenery. It'll produce massive crops of mangoes. Now, the corals that we grow look like the mango trees that are in incredibly perfect soil. They just look really wonderful.
Wonderful.
So the electricity that we're feeding to these structures not only grow the rock, they're actually giving the organisms biophysical energy to heal themselves. So they're actually getting stronger. They're able to resist stress that would kill them. They're able to recover from damage much more quickly. So it's really quite remarkable. We're giving them a boost, and we're giving, it's not only the corals, it's everything around them too. So in other ecosystems, just to give an example, I mean, here in Costa Rica we're concerned about our coral reefs. But in cold areas of the world, oyster reefs play the same role. In Louisiana, for example, in the Gulf of Mexico, oyster reefs were protected the land from disappearing. New York City used to have 350 square miles of oyster reef. Now it has 0. So all of those things have gone. So in cold waters, we grow oyster reefs. We speed up their growth and survival too. So we can restore shorelines and ecosystems in cold waters as well as warm waters. We also do it with seagrasses as well. We're able to speed up the growth of that. Very likely we can do it with mangroves. We haven't had the time to try. So the electricity actually has a beneficial healing effect on ecosystems. And it's sort of interesting how profound that effect is and how little understood it has been. There's been very little work on it. Or when there was work, it was done hundreds of years ago. It was mostly regarded as crackpot stuff that people said, oh, this is crazy. So idiot feeding electricity into the ground. He must be nuts. Frankenstein and all this sort of thing. We hear all these kind of jokes. But, I mean, the fact is that electricity is a natural force that is involved in the natural growth and healing of all living organisms. And if you provide fields of the right magnitude, there are immense beneficial aspects that we're just beginning to understand.
Wonderful news.
Yeah.
Well, that's really encouraging. Thanks so much for sharing your wisdom with us today. And yeah, the key is to get that technology happening here on Koh Samui. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you more often, I hope.
I would like to give them a charge.
Sounds good to me.